Hello and welcome to Productivity Nerd, a podcast all about getting shit done, hopefully in an elegant way that doesn't leave you too broken. In our crazy worlds, we're all about balancing the need to work enough to make ends meet, enough not to annoy our bosses, but also enough that we feel like we've done enough, which can be a whole different psychological and emotional ballgame, along with the human need to rest and stay well. Plus, on top of that, we'd quite like to enjoy ourselves, maybe just a little bit along the way, spending quality time with those we love. I, for one, love hearing about how people get that balance and work more efficiently so they have more time to do the things that they love. Hi, and welcome to Productivity Nerd. It is super to have you here. On today's Minipod, I'm tackling one of those things that's been vaguely bumbling about my brain for years. I've heard about it, therefore I think I know about it, but actually I'm probably making it up based on random bits of knowledge and cobbling together lots of different words from many a game of bullshit bingo working in consultancies. So I thought Google and I should get together and do a bit of actual research. So now I actually know what I'm talking about a little bit. I thought I'd tell you lot. So in short, a little mini pod about sprints. So where did the idea of sprints come from any old way? So they originally came from software development, very specifically Agile and Scrum methodologies, both of which I've heard of. Do I know any more than that? No, not really. There may come another mini pod after another Googling. But in that world, a sprint is a very short time box period, usually 1 to 2 weeks only, during which a team works to specifically complete a chunk of work. It was a way to kind of stop that endless scope creep and create a faster turnaround time and feedback loop. And the idea has since sort of spread way out of tech, and it's now used for all sorts of things, consultancy, writing, design, marketing, so on. So how does it work? Well, a few core ingredients go into a sprint. So firstly, it has to be time boxed. So it's got a clear end, a clear start, and it's usually, as I say, really short. It has a very focused scope. So it's got one clear goal or output. For example, write 3 podcast scripts or launch a landing page. Very specific, not huge usually. And no distractions. One of our favourite things on Productivity Nerd, you clear the decks, no multitasking. And then finally, a bit of reflection and review. So at the end, you look back and you go, did that work? Which bits worked? Which bits didn't? So let's take as an example, this is a Google Ventures or a GV design sprint. So the way they set it up is it's a 5-day structured process. It was created by a chap called Jake Knapp at Google Ventures, who also wrote the book called Sprint. But it was designed to help teams solve big problems and test ideas, but really fast. It's a bit like speed dating, but for product development. And instead of going round and round endlessly trying loads of different stuff, you just run through this focus process and get real user feedback in just one working week. And each day has kind of a purpose. So how it works, day 1, you map it out. You start by working out what the problem is, what are the challenges, who are the users, what's the goal, and you make a kind of simple user journey map and pick a target area to focus on. Day 2 is called Sketch, and everyone generates ideas. So on your own, mostly, you sit quietly with pens, paper, draw stuff, ponder stuff, no chin wagging or deciding that things aren't right until you anonymously share all the ideas at the end and critique it together as a team. So everybody gets input and there's no stupid answers, basically. And then day 3 is decide. You vote on the best ideas and you create a storyboard. And this becomes a blueprint for your new prototype, which you build on day 4. So day 4 is prototype day. You build a really realistic kind of facade of the solution in just one day. Not the real thing. No one's got time for that. Just enough to test it, which feels still pretty hardcore to me. But then I'm no Google tech wizard. I don't know what they can knock up in a matter of hours. Anything, possibly. And then day 5, test it. You literally go show that prototype to some real users in real time and watch how they interact with it, see how they find it, pull out any bugs. And then you learn really fast what works and what doesn't. So that is a very specific Google sprint. But generally, what's good about using a sprint thing? So typically, it compresses months of work into 1 week. It forces you to be clear and it forces some fairly fast decision making. It avoids endless meetings and loads of debate because you have to get it done in a set time frame. And it, of course, means that you can test ideas before you invest a load of time and a load of money into something that's not going to run. So it's also very collaborative. In your sprint, you can bring in all sorts of different people that need to have an input. So that's, it could be designers, marketers, engineers, customer service, whoever you like. You pull everybody in who's going to have an input into it. And where it works best is launching a new product or a new feature, redesigning something that's underperforming, trying a new bold idea that's really risky that you don't want to just launch out there that's going to cost a lot. You do a little dry run first, and getting the team on board really quick. So Jake Knapp, man from Google, wrote a book called Sprint if you want to dig a little bit deeper into the whys and the wherefores. So that's obviously quite a techie example, but taking it outside of tech into the real world, us normal folk, why might we use a sprint? Well, clarity. You know what you're aiming for. You've got your brief, right? And that's what you're going to do. Motivation. There's a deadline, there's stress. I would hope if you're all collaborating, there's biscuits. You put it all together fast. Momentum creates energy. You're racing the clock, but in a good way. And focus. You're not juggling everything due to one really clear priority, which we know helps with productivity, right? So you're sort of turning your week into a mission. Are there downsides? Well, oh yes, afraid so. Burnout, right? Sprints can be intense. If you're not careful and you overuse them and they become your default way of working, then that's pretty intense and quite unpleasant. And in fact, sort of just defeats the object, right? You don't want to be doing this all the time. Otherwise, it's not a sprint. That's just like the day job. Prep matters. A sprint with a vague goal is pretty unpleasant and pretty chaotic. You've got to have those really predefined ideas of what you're trying to achieve. And it's not always sustainable, right? It's a great mode to be in from time to time, but it's not a great lifestyle. After all, we still have the day job. We can't, most of us, drop everything for a week, once a month even, to go, right, let me go sprint on this thingamajiggy, right? It's just not realistic. People just can't fully focus on one thing for a week or two all the time. It's got to be used sparingly, I would say, used for the real important stuff. And we did our podcast way back on slow productivity. This sort of feels like the opposite. It's like fast productivity. But maybe you have these fast sprints and then your downtime is your kind of slow, more thoughtful, more meandering productivity. So there we go. Google and I are now friends. We have established what we mean by sprints. I hope you enjoyed it. I found it quite interesting. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Kathy Soulsby, and that was Productivity Nerd, a podcast and video all about helping you do more of the right things efficiently so you can live your best life. If you enjoyed it, please do rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps more people find us. Thank you.